You ever been with a girl who's deceased?
No.
That's called a cold open. That's what you have to look forward to. You can't do those jokes anymore.
Can't hear.
Safe space. Safe space.
It's not a safe space. It's on the podcast.
Write down cold open. I like that. It's a good joke. We'll do that.
Yeah, you'll take it? Is that what you mean?
Just that part. Then we'll go.
I'll take that joke.
And that'll segue right into.
You can't take that joke. That's
no,
a good
it's you
joke.
saying it.
That's a good joke, Bob. I'm going to do it at the Borgata. I got a second show. I need more jokes. What do you got for me?
All right. Well, we have 2 roasts in peace today. So here we go.
Our first one is Miss Doris Day.
Oh,
She passed away at 97 years old.
jeez. About time.
That's that. No, I think I had such a crush on her.
Really?
Yeah.
She was an Oscar-winning actress and songwriter. She was in such great movies as The Man Who Knew Too Much, Pillow Talk, and Gaslight. Her song, Que Sera Sera for Man Who Knew Too Much, won an Oscar. But in 1973, she retired from acting and bought an inn in Carmel by the Sea, California, that she co-owned with her son.
Well, she's gone. We all wish Doris could have lived many more days.
That I knew you were going to say that. Yes, she was 8 days a week. She was great. She left me in a daze. She left me dazed and confused.
In Carmel by the Sea, her neighbor was Clint Eastwood.
It's Carmel.
Carmel.
The
Thank
caramel's good.
I love
That's
Carmel.
how she passed. She actually swallowed a caramel by the sea. She had freckles, like tons and tons of freckles.
Really?
And she was just a beautiful woman. And she was a good actress, you know. At Que Sera Sera, that's a Hitchcock movie, man. That's hardcore stuff.
Beautiful.
What will be, and then you're going to think you're going to be killed. That's like serious. Her freckles tried to kill her.
Fearing her name was too ethnic, she changed it to Doris Day. Her real name was Doris Dago.
So you're saying she was ethnic?
She was considered a triple threat, not because she was a singer, a movie star, and a TV star, but way back when she started, she was a carrier of measles, mumps, and rubella.
I see a triple threat. That's amazing. I would have put malaria in there, but I just think that's funny.
She retired in 1973, 46 years ago. I can't be too sad for anyone who got to retire for 46 years.
Well, you know what's interesting? I can be, because, you know, I think if you stop, it's because you've really got a reason, and it's like what I'm known for, I guess she's thinking, is not going to continue. And I don't want to watch myself get old on camera.
Yeah.
And she probably could have done more parts and maybe had work done, you know, and maybe, you know, done some great movie role one day. I think she was. I mean, I had such a crush on her as a kid. I would have watched her become old happily, as some of these actresses and actors that we just love. Doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
So I don't know. You can cut it out.
Well, Doris Day, Que Sera Sera, whatever will be, will roast in peace.
Oh.
You sound very emotional about it. Were you a fan? Were you like?
I don't even know who the fuck she was.
See, I had a crush on her. I wanted to connect her freckles with my. You can't talk that way anymore. It's a different world. You can't talk.
This is a safe space, Bob.
It's not. Is it safe because your listeners are safe and they get where you're coming from? Because we are being recorded.
You're in the thick-skinned bunker now.
I know I'm in a bunker, and I know it's thick-skinned because everybody around me is thick-skinned.
Right.
But and I am a cannibal, so it's going to take a while to get through you three. But I'm just saying, you know, we are in a world where you can't talk about a woman and say she was gorgeous. That's not her epitaph. It was that she was an important actress, and she made movies with Rock Hudson, and she must have known what took him years to come out and talk about. But she was obviously a dear friend of his. I'm just making all this shit up like everybody else does about all famous people. But my guess is, and I don't know anybody that knew her, is that she was just a great lady.
Ben Franklin banged her.
No, he actually stuck a string to her and pulled a kite out of her. Wait, you can't do that. You can't talk like that.
Come on, we got to start the show. Are you ready, Bob?
Yeah, hit me.
All right.
Get ready for Jeff Ross.
Welcome to Thick Skin with Jeff Ross, everybody. Life is hard, but don't worry. We're getting through it together. I feel so good today. Sometimes we do these podcasts late at night down here in the bunker, and sometimes we do them first thing in the morning. I'm drinking coffee. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling the best I'm going to feel all day.
First thing in the morning to you is 2:37 p.m.
Yes, it's true. That's the comics. That's when we roll.
I do roll. It takes me a while to roll out of bed, but I do it because the bed's close to the floor. It's mattress on a form, like a platform.
This is a friends and family podcast, as the listeners know. We call them all emotional support humans. Those are the people listening.
Sweet. That
Very
I'm included.
open-minded people. They're down with bawdy, brash humor. They're down with thinking positive, and they're down with group therapy, which is kind of what we do here. Cousin Ed, hi.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing
You guys
good.
really cousins?
We are.
Yeah.
First or second?
First, fathers or brothers?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is your father still alive?
Yes.
So does that piss Jeff off?
Well, he's half of them's gone.
So now, were you in the catering business too?
He's had some amputations.
My father's got no legs. But
Your father has no legs?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. He's
What happened?
diabetes.
Oh, that's a bitch. My dad had it for a while, but then he didn't live long after. This is a real up with people podcast. But did your dad, was he attracted to Doris Day?
I imagine he was attracted to most women.
But his hands worked.
Yes.
And his unit worked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here.
But he had no. But he had you after he had no legs.
No. The no legs thing is recent. I'm fine. He got. But he took a couple steps the other day. Things are looking good.
He's
I don't know
got
if I told you that.
No, that's great
On his
news.
nubs, or he's got prosthetics.
He's got prosthetics, but now his prosthetics have brought him down to 5'7", so I'm finally taller than him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats. He's
Thank
taller
you.
than Gilbert.
Shout out to Uncle Jerry and all my family everywhere. When life is hard for me, I turn to my friends. And there's nobody in my life that's more stable, more experienced, more generous with advice.
At archery. Oh, sorry.
Trying to introduce you, Bob.
I know. I'm sorry.
And then sometimes your friends become your colleagues, which makes life even better. Shows come and go, projects come and go, but it's our relationships that sustain us through our lives, through our careers. Bob Saget is in the middle of a North American tour. His tour schedule is unbelievable. I don't know where he gets his energy. He's also one of the stars of my new Netflix show, Historical Roast. We're going to talk to him about all these things today. But the one thing I'm just bursting to talk to Bob about is
Doris Day.
he just directed and starred in a movie that I'm halfway through. Don't spoil it. I don't want to hear any spoilers because I know I heard you on the Today Show talk about the ending is got a good
No, I didn't.
surprise ending. Somebody said it.
Somebody said it. Yeah.
And it's called Benjamin. And it's out right now. It's streaming on Redbox. It's Redbox's first streaming film. I downloaded the app. It's very easy.
It's weird that it's the beginning of a new, because platforms are coming out of the woodwork. There's a brand new thing every day.
Right.
That you can they have 50 million subscribers. So I had no idea. I had to explain to other cast members, no, this is really good for an independent film.
Oh, my God. I mean, everyone's going to see it. You can see it in supermarkets. You can see it on your own phone at home.
You can project it
rent
onto your asshole.
You can project it on my asshole. Don't call Ed an asshole.
No, I was looking at you.
And
Have you ever had a screening on your asshole?
we have the same doctor.
Oh, that's true. So we've had the same tests.
Yeah. And I'm just amazed by this guy. This guy is Bob Saget. He's a national treasure, and thanks to all the projects he does on Redbox and Netflix and your stand-up specials, you're an international treasure now. Everyone knows you. Fuller House is like 3 seasons in.
5.
5 seasons
This
in.
is the last season.
How'd they do it that quick?
18 shows coming up. I do a reading next week, which will probably be right now.
Wow.
I don't know when this is running. This is live, right?
And we're lucky enough to get him down in the bunker today on the show. right before he takes off on a break. So you've been working so hard, Bob. It means so much that you would come down to my house and what's the word? Bond with us here on Thick Skin.
Well, I love you. You're like family to me also. So
Thank
I mean,
you,
we've
Bob.
been through. That was the sound of Jeff's penis on my mouth. We've been through a lot. I mean,
We've been through breakups. We've been through failed shows. We've been through health scares. We've been through family deaths.
It's hard to break up with a failed show. You
We've been
keep
through
wanting
it
to go
all.
back, and they don't take you back.
What drives you, Bob? What keeps you going?
I got a really new Lexus that's nice.
What do you what how, you could bow out. You could
Never.
Move,
What are you
you
talking
could move
about?
to Acapulco.
No,
you could be on Bora
that'd be
Bora
great
on
if
a
it was
yacht, right?
1954. But
You could.
no, I'm never stopping. I have too many things that I do mediocre. I'm mediocre. What's the right word?
Mediocrity.
I'm a
Prolifically mediocre.
You're a hack
yeah,
of all.
that's good.
You're
I
a-
do 5 things, none of them well. So
You're a hack of all trades.
there you go. So
But
stand
you're
up
not.
is
You're
stand
an
up is-
original. No one
stand up-
sounds like you. You know.
They try when they steal my stuff and then go. Someone the other night I was on stage and someone said that's Nick Kroll's joke. I said first thing that's impossible because I accidentally told a joke I wrote 20 years ago, so he must have seen that special. But I don't think Nick Kroll would do that because Nick Kroll's brilliant and it's not. And so no, shut up. You know, it was like I have never stolen a joke. I've never, I'm just tried to do what I found funny. But I've been influenced by the same people you've been
I
influenced.
stole
by.
one of your jokes once by accident, and you caught me, and I didn't even know I was stealing it. It was about.
Which one was it? Because I never forgave you.
it was
I'm out
about-
of here.
I
This
did some joke
podcast is
somewhere-
shit.
I did some joke somewhere about. I dropped a name dropping is wrong. My good friend.
Do you know who else? Stephen Colbert did the joke.
You didn't even let me steal it for a second.
I didn't really take it just now. Okay, go ahead. Say it again. Sorry.
I think I actually used you in the joke. I said it's not good to name drop. My good pal Bob Saget told me that.
I hope that's true. That my name was used because then it's okay. But what happened was someone told me like a month ago, Stephen Colbert said that, and he said it's not good to name drop. Meryl Streep told me that, but that was on my special from 2 years ago, 0 to 60,
Right.
which is still a 10-year-old joke that I just never put in a special.
Right.
Which is it's not good to name drop. Robert De Niro told me that. No, it was Quentin Tarantino, and then I just go and list different people. And then we fist bumped in Tribeca, and it was awesome. But that's my version of my joke. But yes, can people think of that same thing? Yes. I wrote the same joke that was in a special that I all of a sudden heard 40 people do. Am I the guy that originated, comedy's the best medicine? No, it's Percocet. There's a billion people that do that joke, but I did it on a special 12 years ago. It doesn't matter. I mean, I did a thing. I'm directing a documentary about Martin Mull. Kevin Bright's producing it, and I
Because you're just sick of making money, right?
No, there's no money in that. No, that's dedication. That's like this podcast. You do it because you love it. That's
Right.
why. And I idolized Martin Mull. I was 17 when I saw him do comedy songs. I had been doing comedy songs since 16.
Right.
And I watched the thing of him because I've been having to watch all of his footage. And he did an amazing special at the Roxy. And he goes, and he did a joke that I've been doing. And so I must have taken that from watching him when I was 17 and never copped to
Wow.
it, which was thank you for coming, or however you reacted for seeing me in person. But I heard him do it, and probably I would think he might be the first person, unless it's one of those old jokes. I had an old joke that I did on a Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian special, and Brad Garrett, I was told, stole the joke. But then Brad Garrett woke me up and told me, Bob, that joke's older than The Hills. And
Really?
he was correct. And the joke was, it was about my ex-wife. She was 5'1". And it was like, I'm nuts over her. She's this tall. And then you hold your hand to the ground. And then people go, I love that joke of yours. Well, it ain't mine, people. And I didn't know it because I was 21. And I started doing it when I was 18.
Really?
And Brad
How
Garrett.
old were you when you started doing comedy?
Stand-up at 17.
Wow.
But Brad Garrett was right, and he's a good guy, and he kind of woke me up. It was kind of like that moment where every comedian, do you feel like you have been lifted from, or do you feel like people think you lift from them because we come up with the same stuff, or how many ways can you carve an audience?
No, because
If you
I
do
have,
audience work, which would the lay people call.
I just always think about what Jerry Seinfeld said when people started ripping him off. He'd say, "Where are they going with my act?"
Yeah.
Like, they want to do me. They can do it for a minute, but it ain't going to go anywhere.
No.
And I'm writing jokes all the time, so I always have trying to come up with new material.
Always, because I get tired of your old stuff. No, but there were a couple comedians, one in particular that stole, and I'm not going to mention names at all. B. Arthur. No, that's your favorite reference, so I thought I'd say it. I know.
I wouldn't interview with B. Arthur's dick.
That's you've covered the gamut on B. Arthur today.
That was her birthday last.
It's too soon. When was your birthday?
Her birthday was last week.
Did you celebrate it?
I did.
What did you say? Arthur, happy birthday.
Here's what I got her.
You got that big. I know that's the first thing I saw. Get it away from me, Jeff. Jeff, get it the fuck away from me. It's a big black rubber dildo. Get it away from me.
Okay.
Seriously.
It's fine.
I want to see I want reality, a tiny white one. Put it on the table. like a troll doll's dick.
Do you realize how much
Stop picking it up.
smaller my penis is than this?
Why are you so comfortable
My penis
picking that
looks
up?
like the end where you put the batteries in. That's
You got a AAA dick? Are you a 4-battery penis?
My dick is it runs on solar energy.
Is that true? So you have to lay in the sun?
Yeah.
I think I stole that from you. No, I didn't. But that's so you used to, and when you mess with an audience, you mess with an audience. I've always messed with an audience,
right?
And then I was 17 when I saw Don Rickles perform. I didn't steal Don Rickles stuff. I didn't go, "What about those Asians?" But he's missed, and it's interesting.
His birthday's this week, also.
Yeah, it was 3 to 4 days ago. But according to this, it could have been 8 days ago because podcasts have a life all their own. We don't know when this is.
It could be any time.
As long as it's intimate to the listener, that's all we care about. That way you feel like we're inside you.
May 8th, Don Rickles, if you want to celebrate.
He was, that's what it was?
Yeah.
The Sultan of Insulting.
He
loved
was
you.
like
he loved
a dad to me, and I never knew that would happen in my life. And he was such a good, you're going to love this. My ex-in-laws were not fans of me being a comedian. And they tried to tell my manager, who was Brad Gray, when I was 22 years old, to tell me to get out of show business and go into the tire business. There might be some listeners that agree, but they didn't believe in me. And I was opening for Jose Feliciano at the Claridge in Atlantic City. And so Don Rickles, my daughters, when I got divorced, and my ex and I are close now, and I think it's also because I got
a lovely lady.
She's lovely, and I have a great wife. Kelly is like the best in the world. It's been 23 years since I'm divorced. I mean, that's not like you. I mean,
it's about time you got remarried.
I think. Well, it just happened.
You got a new wife who was born the year you got divorced. It worked out great.
No, she wasn't. I was 40.
I'm kidding.
No, you might be right. I'm trying to do the math. No, we have a 23-year difference. So do Dave Coulier and John Stamos are also 23 years older than their wives.
Really?
So we think it's the Full House thing. You just got to make sure that they're right, and then you raise them. You got to water them, filter them, fertilize them. The bed's a mess. Can't do these jokes anymore.
No, you can, Bob. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is the place.
But it's a place anyway, isn't it?
I want to talk to you about your new movie, Benjamin, and I want to talk to you about historical roast and your tour and a bunch of stuff. But first, we have an agenda here. We do birthday shout-outs. This podcast is really about celebrating life. So if you'll indulge us, we want to give a couple of birthday shout-outs. Right, Ed?
Absolutely. First one coming out is Miss Janet Jackson.
That's nice. Let me take my boob out.
Remember that when we were attacking her for showing a breast while her brother was fucking kids? I mean, talk about burying the lead. It is hard.
That family's got some history, don't they?
It's hard being a woman. That's all I'm saying.
I have trouble with it. But don't you think that I was happy that it happened. I thought it was like just freedom and sexuality, and they sold it. I thought it was planned.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I felt. I mean, Michael and the kids.
By the way, I tried to watch that Michael Jackson documentary, and I just couldn't get through it. I kept getting offended.
An erection is what you're saying. I was going to cut you off and actually have a conversation, but then when I looked in your eyes, I saw that look where your pupils dilate, and I know that it's going to be a joke, so I can't have a conversation. But I could not watch that documentary because I did not have enough lube in the house.
Janet Jackson, happy birthday. She's been married 3 times, and none of them worked out because that's the way love goes. Happy birthday, Janet.
I think the unrecognizability of her song might have hurt that joke.
It's also Liberace's birthday.
He would have been 100.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Behind the
Wow.
candelabra, you find Michael Jackson.
Liberace comes from Italian and Polish descent. No wonder he loves sausage so much.
But he was an entertainer.
Oh, true.
Whereas Michael, no, I was joking. He was also an amazing entertainer.
Oh, no.
But Liberace didn't do anything against anyone's will or
Right.
take advantage of human beings, especially kids.
Also, the second greatest gay piano player after Clint Eastwood.
Well, Clint is more of a guitar guy, isn't he?
He plays piano.
Does he?
Yeah,
He can
does
do
play.
pretty much anything, I guess.
It's Clint Eastwood.
But yeah, he is. But there's also okay. Say that one again.
It didn't make any sense. The gay community
But
is
it's
mad.
it's a gay bash in a way.
Well, it's a joke that Clint Eastwood's a gay piano player. He's clearly not a gay.
Oh, I didn't get that
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's not.
So you
a
have to
mystery.
know he's clearly not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
more
Well,
of a
the year's young. We've been getting surprised a lot.
You never know.
The bubble could burst on all these guys.
Shout out to Liberace. The gay community is mad he never came out of the closet. He wanted to. He just couldn't figure out which cape to wear.
That's not a bad joke.
That's not bad. Thank you.
He wanted to, but the light hit the sequins and it blinded him. And no, you do yours. Keep going.
No. So shout out to Liberace. Happy
Can you cut me
birthday.
entirely out of this podcast? so
No,
it's just
you are the podcast.
All right.
This is the Bob Saget full bunker.
Can you try not to say my name so much? If I'm funny, it's all
Saget,
good.
Saget, 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 Saget.
Stop
Right.
talking about Liberace.
And then we're back to the gay jokes.
All right. Is it time for touchy subjects?
I think so. We can do
I think
some
we've
touchy
just covered
subjects.
them.
Touchy subjects.
This first one's very touchy.
Yeah.
All right. Alabama banned abortion yesterday. The law bans all abortion except in cases of serious medical risk to the mother. In cases of rape and incest, the women will have to keep the baby.
No, that's not what I saw in the news. I saw that
They tried to they at the last minute they put in an amendment to put rape and incest off, and then they
Well, they're
overruled
usually intertwined.
it depends.
They're usually the same
In Alabama,
same
yes.
person.
Well, without rape and incest, no one would get pregnant in Alabama.
Yeah, that's. I think you're correct.
There was an amendment proposed that would have allowed abortion cases of rape and incest, but it was voted down. The law was passed 25-6.
Wow.
Makes it a Class A felony, which means it can be a sentence of 99 years in jail.
Jesus.
I had a friend whose father went to jail for. He was a doctor, and I was living in Norfolk, Virginia, and this was in the early '60s, and abortion was illegal. And his father went to jail because a young girl was going to die, and he did the abortion in his office with clean stuff, and a nurse did it also. And he went to jail for 10 years.
Damn.
And I went back to the house one day, and I saw his dad, and all he did was lay on the couch and watch TV and was depressed. And I think he died soon after that. But it was. Everything I've been reading is, it's all over the place. That people are more in danger if it's illegal. I just don't think. I don't think it should be at a state level or a city level. I think it should go block by block. I think that people should vote depending on literally their street name.
Alabama, the 6th poorest state in our union. I really feel like they need more people, right? Oh, jeez. In Alabama, safe sex is called mudding. Well, you heard it here first. If you're a rapist, you should move to Alabama, where you are more welcome than women. Shout out to the women of Alabama.
Man,
It's
what
tough.
what world are we in?
It's crazy. Georgia just passed a ban at 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, so you have to have if you have an abortion after 6 weeks, it's considered murder in Georgia.
Wow.
It's going backwards.
Now, if a woman gets pregnant in Alabama, she'll have to walk to Florida where abortions come with a side of fries.
That's kind of funny. It's kind of like
Thanks for
how it
Simon
happened.
Cowell all my jokes.
No. I like all your jokes. I'm just a conversationalist too. I apologize.
No, this is a lot of fun. What's next, Ed?
I mean, some people call having sex in Alabama a drive-through. That's what I was thinking of. That's why I went off. That's why I took you so seriously. I'm sorry. You know how I feel about you. You go through a breakup, I bring you a pastrami sandwich.
That's true.
3:30 in the morning.
I thought about getting you a pastrami sandwich today, and
I'm better off without
I
it.
thought, you know what? Let's go healthy.
Yeah, it's better for my heart and stuff. And
You look great.
thank you.
I don't know what you're doing, but
I've been masturbating in the yard.
somehow you don't get older. You just stay the same.
No,
Got a hot young wife. I don't know how you're doing it, bud.
she's beautiful. Maybe that's part of it, but it's also I keep my head young. You know, I'm working on like a way to do it completely different hour, different special, different way of talking. Not the same thing. You know, try to omit Full House jokes from my litany of things. It's very difficult.
That's got to be hard because they're so easy
Oh my God, they're right there.
all the
I mean,
time.
you just say Kimmy Gibbler till the end of time, people applaud.
We even did a couple on historical roasts, and you were a good sport about it.
Well, that show's hilarious. I can't wait to talk about it
All
because
right.
it's people are going to go nuts for it.
Yeah, Bob.
You
plays,
did something special. I can't.
Bob plays the great emancipator Abe Lincoln, and that comes out May 27th on Netflix, and I couldn't be more grateful. But we'll get to it.
I can't. I would wanted to see the pitch meeting on that. How you went in and said we're going to roast Anne Frank.
Right.
You know, how do you say that to someone?
It wasn't in the pitch. That came later. But what happened was there was that shooting in Detroit at the synagogue,
Yeah.
and
Pittsburgh, I think.
in Pittsburgh. The second one was in Pittsburgh.
Was there two?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And it was almost like a cautionary tale against anti-Semitism, and there were no documentaries. There still aren't on Netflix about Anne Frank, and there's like 50 about Hitler. So my pitch was,
Maniacs get a lot of press.
how do you expect people to say never forget the Holocaust when there's no reminders?
You don't show the Holocaust, and people believe that they're a hoax.
Right.
That the Night and Fog, the required movie of my schooling, when I was living in Virginia in an anti-Semitic time, as opposed to now when things are going just swimmingly. That showed, the horror. That showed the bulldozers, the bodies going into, and people believe right now. There might be some dude out there right now believing that that's all bullshit and it was all made up and it's like the moon landing. It didn't happen.
Right.
And those people are ignorant assholes. That's all.
Well, they are, and they need to be educated, and even young people with
People
who are good people don't know about the Holocaust. Even people on my own staff were getting Anne Frank and Helen Keller confused because the history gets all mishmashed. And
Anne Frank would have been lucky to have been Helen Keller because she
Yeah.
wouldn't have had to see all that.
What's next, Ed?
Was the set an attic? Was the set for Anne Frank an attic?
No, it was the
attic?
same set you had for Abe Lincoln, but
So
we
you
just
had
decorated.
$1 on the set.
And a bunch of pennies everywhere, and John Wilkes Booth, and
I did. Yeah, with the pennies everywhere.
Interestingly enough, we had John Wilkes Booth also roasted Anne Frank.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You're such a prankster.
No, Bob was nice enough to play Abe Lincoln. We also roast Martin Luther King and Anne Frank and Cleopatra and Muhammad Ali
Freddie Mercury.
and Freddie fucking Mercury. It's a great show. And
Who is
Bob
Freddie
is the
Mercury?
first person we asked, the first person to say yes. As soon as Bob said yes, John Stamos said yes. I'll play John Wilkes Booth, and the rest is historical roasts. The rest is history.
Memorial Day is when it comes out
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool on the Monday there. So
That's Monday?
It's a Monday.
Wow.
The 27th.
Memorial Day is
No, a
always
week
Monday.
from this Monday.
But not
the
according to this
27th.
podcast because we don't know.
The podcast is probably coming out tomorrow.
You're gonna have to pinch this one out quick.
Yeah.
Might eat some roughage.
People need their thick skin, Bob. We put it out there.
Yeah.
Our emotional support humans all over the world. They're going to be psyched to hear from you.
So they need this love and this comedy is what they need.
Give people some encouragement. When you're feeling down, Bob, what brings you up? How do you lift your spirits if and when you're ever feeling
Speed. I just take speed.
Do you listen to other comedy? Do you?
And sometimes, if I want to catch up on somebody I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But normally, what makes me feel good? I don't know. Game of Thrones has been real uplifting.
I don't want to do too many spoiler alerts, but I know how I know how it ends.
Now here comes a joke.
Why would I joke about something like that?
Okay, go ahead. How does it end?
It ends with just they're going to cut to black, and they're going to play "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey.
Oh, so it's just exactly like The Sopranos.
Oh, now you ruined it.
Oh.
I hadn't seen The Sopranos yet.
Oh, shit. But if it's Don't Stop Believing, it means that Tony's alive.
Right. That's the thing.
But he's not.
He's not.
No.
Another person's gone.
See, I heard a big spaceship's going to land right in front of the castle, and it's going to have an American flag on the side of it. And Neil Armstrong's going to come out with an AR-15 and just destroy everybody.
You really? That's one way to think about it. Or Buzz Aldrin. He's still pissed he had to wait on the vehicle.
He's backup.
Am I the only one who gets Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and the Bible mixed up?
Yes. The Bible, no, everybody gets that mixed up with those things.
The acting on Game of Thrones is so good.
The acting in the Bible is fantastic.
Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrion on Game of Thrones, is a friend of mine. He's such a good actor. He's actually 6'3".
That's an amazing actor.
He lost 3 feet to play that role.
Well, a lot of times they put him in a hole in the ground.
Right.
Many times.
Peter Dinklage won an Emmy for that role, but it looked like an Emmy won a Peter Dinklage.
So you're saying he's that small? Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
He would laugh at that joke.
I think he's brilliant. My God.
Great actor. We're going to miss Game
all
of
the
Thrones.
actors on that thing. People at the Emmys voting are like, what the hell are we going to do? Open up 19 categories for the entire cast. Right. The winner is the dragon. Yeah.
That's
dragon number 1, dragon number 2, or dragon number 3? Well, dragon number 2 seemed funny, so I'm gonna, and I really love humor, so I'm gonna go with dragon number 2.
Yeah, why even bother submitting for an Emmy in the drama categories when GOT is gonna get them all?
I know, and they call it GOT, which is fascinating because you have to watch it. You got to watch it.
Smart.
Never heard that before.
No, I never said it before. But I'm sure someone will say, I took it from them. 62-year-old comedian steals jokes from 24-year-old Monday Nighter. Film at 11.
What's next, Ed?
Bob
Come on.
We got
touchy subjects.
We got some more touchy subjects. All right. Charges were dropped against the Florida man who got arrested for having a sticker on his back windshield of his truck that simply reads, I eat ass. Dylan Webb was charged with possession of obscene material and resisting arrest without violence. He's from Lake City.
Maybe he meant donkey. Maybe he meant he cooks a donkey.
So he had an I eat ass sticker on the back of his truck?
Yeah.
Look, as long as he's not eating it while he's driving, I'm okay with it.
But the question is he mean eat it or have sexual eat ass, means put your tongue in something, okay? Yeah. And munch a bunch of Fritos. But if it's eat it like a cannibal, I did see it. I had seen it before.
Oh, you have seen it.
But if you're munching it and eating it, then you're a cannibal, then you should be arrested if you're actually eating it.
Right.
But I don't think people actually are eating it like Hannibal Lecter.
I think he means licking it.
Well,
Bob, you've had your ass.
Whose business
Come on.
is that?
Come on.
What?
You're a big TV star. I'm sure in your single days somebody tried to.
I think maybe if I had a film career, maybe. But I don't think.
What are you talking about? You got a big movie out right now.
Well, it's big on Redbox. I mean, that's good. But
you ever
it
had
doesn't get your ass eaten.
Have you ever had?
And by the way,
have you ever had a
by the way,
Redbox?
Yeah, that's what I was. Once again, you beat me to it. It would have been
for what?
When you get your ass eaten, you got a red box.
Bob, what would be some horrible things to have written on your car? What would be some good stickers, you think?
I don't want to say them because people will do them. I just don't want to say it. I don't want to do it. Jeff Ross eats ass? I don't think. No. I love Jeff Ross.
Honk for pussy?
No. I don't want people responding. I don't think people should put stickers on their cars unless they are in the Terminex business. You could put a sticker on your car if you're killing bugs, or if you got the little Domino's thing that you hook onto your cigarette lighter and put it on your roof. That's a lifestyle choice.
Wow.
Webb says the response from the sticker has been fairly positive, and he plans on keeping it.
Oh, so he's been selling it? Is he doing it as merch?
No, I think he wants to be the only one.
I think he should sell it. I mean, it's a big campaign, and it fits what's going on in the world right now.
It's definitely got some press.
Yeah, because we're all, with the world the way it is right now, we're all kind of eating ass. We not necessarily in the positive. So I'm saying maybe one that hasn't been cleaned.
Well, if you want an I Eat Ass sticker, you can contact Dylan Webb in Lake City, Florida.
This is why we have to spay and neuter all our Floridians. What's next, Ed?
All right. The summer is coming up, and the new trend is going to be Cheetos, which is basically jeans Speedos.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. They're Speedos made of jeans
Show
material?
Bob a picture.
And do they... Wow. Boy, I'd eat that ass. That's a guy. I could eat that ass in 10 minutes.
These
what
are
if
perfect.
it was orange? Would they be like Cheeto Speedos? What if he had a Cheeto hanging out of his ass? But that's like back to old Hot Pants Daisy Duke shit. We're going backwards in every way.
I'm going to get a pair.
That's great.
You look good in it.
They're $39.99, and they come in acid wash.
Acid wash.
For your eyes. All right. What's next?
An Australian woman and life coach, Linda Doctor, marries herself on the beach and says her vows into a mirror.
What?
Yeah. It's not uncommon. One of the attendees, Emma Jane Love, married herself in Bali a couple years ago after a string of abusive relationships. Love is a former sex worker turned relationship counselor.
I actually... it doesn't have to be done publicly as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
That's not how I roll, but I don't judge anyone that would. Mm-hmm. But we all know that to love yourself is how you can love other people and how you can be loved and how to not want to kill yourself, how to get through life as dark as it seems. So I wouldn't marry myself because, I'd hate to cheat on myself. But or do the prenups. It's exhausting. You got to sign. You got to go to both sides of the desk. 2 different lawyers. It's very expensive. Very Jekyll and Hyde. Very Steve Martin and All of Me, which the millennials and Gen X won't know.
I thought you were going to say a man with 2 brains.
No, but All of Me, he played the Lily Tomlin part as well as himself because he had 2 spirits inside his body.
Oh wow!
And it's I believe it's also Carl Reiner directed. I'm not 100% positive, but. What a bunch of great comedy that is. But anyway, I don't you agree you got to love yourself?
Well, you're the one who once told me, do what's good for you. Bob is very, very good with advice and knowledge. And
I believe you were having sex with twins at that moment.
Do what's good for you, Jeff. I would ask Bob either existential questions or practical questions about my life or my career, and he'd go, do what's good for you. Don't do things out of guilt. Don't do things out of pressure.
Guilt, I don't believe in guilt. And unfortunately, a lot of religion, we're Jewish, but Catholic does it. A lot of different religions make people guilty. I have to do this because I have to do it.
Right.
But if you're unhappy, you shouldn't be unhappy, but you want to put your faith first. I understand that also, if you believe in that. But you can't be unhappy. How are you honoring what you believe in if you're miserable? It just doesn't make sense. That's why people cheat. That's why people do illegal things. That's why Bitcoins are popular.
Well, if I married myself, at least I'd still have some nice breasts to look at.
You do it. You could be anything you wanted. I mean, you could be.
How's this lady going to divorce herself? She has to commit suicide?
I think a bandsaw. I hope she's happy with herself.
It's not so much a pledge of solitude, but like a rediscovery of oneself.
But did she have people there, or did she do it by herself?
There was 4 people there.
Oh, okay. So it's a small ceremony.
Yeah.
People that supported her and said, "What's her name?" Does it say?
Her name is Linda Doctor, and the lady who does this for everyone is Emma Jane Love.
So they're both made up names, and they're porn names.
You know what? I'm into self-love, self-respect. Shout out
Same.
to her for marrying herself. Kind
Yep.
of a beautiful thing.
What?
What?
Well, it's very hard. The oral sex part's very hard.
You have to get some ribs
You
removed.
can't 69 yourself unless you're right.
You remember
can't-
your first? You remember your first oral sex?
How could I not? We were together. You said talking to the mic, and I put a windscreen on your dick. And next thing you know, Dave Coulier always goes testes 1, 2, and I always laugh. It's just a dad nut joke.
All right, last touchy subject.
Last touchy subject in honor of your spin as Abraham Lincoln. We wanted to talk about the possibility that Abraham Lincoln was gay. And this is coming straight from the Wikipedia page entitled "The Sexuality of Abraham
Well,
Lincoln."
I had a Wikipedia page that said my parents' names were not what they are, like Morty and
Yeah.
and I don't know what the other name was, but I first thing, who cares?
Yeah.
And second thing, well, he prided himself on the truth, but he also had to do a lot of bad things to be able to free the slaves. He had to do a lot of divisive,
Yeah.
decisive
Gays do love slaves.
gays for slaves.
I heard he was hiding a dildo under his hat. Could that be true?
If so, it's that one over there. I don't know where. Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. But I
Joshua-
don't know. What else does it say?
Joshua Fry Speed was his roommate for a while when he was in Illinois, and they used to share a bed together.
Yeah, but he couldn't even fit in one bed
Yeah.
because he's hanging out. Maybe that's why they thought he was gay, because in order to sleep, because he's 7 feet tall, to sleep in that little bed, he had to curve that guy into his penis. He had to put that, in order for the other guy not to fall into bed, he put his penis in his anus just to make sure he wouldn't fall out of bed. So
Kinda
that's
like
not gay. That's necessity.
It's a seatbelt.
I believe that.
He actually postponed his marriage to Mary Todd because Joshua Fry Speed was moving to Kentucky, and so we helped him move all of his stuff to Kentucky instead of getting married to Mary Todd.
Did they use a U-Haul? How did they do it? But he loved Mary Todd, didn't he?
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah, of course he loved Mary Todd.
He was nuts over her.
He stuck with.
Joshua Speed. He made his brother attorney general, and Joshua Speed also was a slave owner, but they stayed very close throughout his presidency until his death.
So it's similar to what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Nepotism and friendship
And slavery.
Bob, when I had the idea to roast Abe Lincoln, this was part of the pitch of the historical roast show was Abe Lincoln. They go, for me, who are the dream roasts? You know, you can't always wait for Justin Bieber or Bruce Willis to want to sit in the hot seat. I wanted to,
So you're putting me lower than them immediately.
expand. I go,
What about Daniel Day-Lewis? Why don't you just go for the real deal?
we tried. He didn't return my call. So we got you, Daniel.
How about Doris
We got
Day-Lewis?
you. We got Daniel Day Jewish. Come on, Mike
The
Bump.
two jokes at the same time, nobody gets hurt. Oh, Mike bumps. That no one saw, two mics just touched.
But
I believe that's a very gay act, by the way.
the Mike bumps.
Two mics bumping is like two penises touching.
Kissing.
And there's an electric spark that happens.
You were also the first person I asked to come do bumping mics when we were doing our Netflix tapings in New York, and not only did you,
And I'm also the first person you asked to do your pilot for the
not
Burn.
only did you kill on bumping mics, you opened it up for everyone else to kill. For Gilbert and Hassan
Oh,
Minaj.
no, Gilbert, I can't even look at him.
No. You were the linchpin that made that all work like a
I'm a
pinball
linchpin?
machine. That
So you
was
stick me in something and you spread my legs to keep me in it?
Bob Saget is not only a solid guy, he's guaranteed funny every time, never misses.
Kids parties. I do kids parties.
He does kids parties, he does historical roasts.
I bring my own farm animals too. You don't have to pay for them.
What did you think when I said, "Can you come do Abe Lincoln"?
I was immediately drawn to it because I love Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln, when I go to D.C., I'll go to that memorial and I'll read every damn word of it because I don't read enough. And you could look it up online. I'd rather see it in giant monumental cement tablet granite form.
You played a very stoic Abe Lincoln, which I really enjoyed.
Well, you said be Abe Lincoln, but I didn't go, and I knew that he was a funny guy.
Right.
I saw Daniel Day-Lewis play it pretty consummately. You can't do better than that.
No.
And there's humor in him as he played it. But this is a roast, and it's a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So I thought I should take it fairly seriously, considering where the world is at right now, and that racism is not anywhere near gone away. So I was kind of feeling a 2019 vibe on Abe Lincoln. So I think the sense of humor was gone from the character. You just kept saying, like, be Abe Lincoln.
Well, here's what we threw at you. What we
You
threw
were
at
like
you.
P.T. Anderson on me. You were just telling me what to do. Be Abe Lincoln.
Well, we threw something at you, which Abe Lincoln never actually had to deal with, which
Natasha
was
Leggero.
to
You
be
threw
in the
her at
same.
me.
She played Mary Todd. She's wonderful.
She's amazing.
But what I'm referring to is we had John Wilkes Booth sitting, just a few feet away from you. So that's an added layer of, whoa, this is Abe Lincoln facing his murderer.
But he doesn't know it. Basically,
But he kind of knows it, or he
knows it in
senses
the non-reality world that we were in to do the roast.
Yeah.
But in truth, if there had been a roast of Abe Lincoln, kind of done like a Kennedy Center thing, John Wilkes Booth was a famous actor.
Right.
And when you came to see me do that play, Hand to God, which I was lucky to do in New York, that was at the Booth Theater, and that was Edwin Booth, his brother.
Right.
And the original Booth Theater was down the street when they had cobblestones back in the day.
Right.
Because the Booth Theater in New York, I think, is 1903 or 1911, something like that. But before that, in the 1800s, the actual Edwin Booth Theater, where John Wilkes Booth acted, he was actually a mediocre actor. And if you're really a mediocre, a lot of TV actors today would be up for that kind of lifestyle. And he's just, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of actors that could turn to that. But John Wilkes was an unhappy actor, which you've never seen.
Right.
Actors complain if they're working or not working. I just hope they don't have a
John
gun.
Stamos played John Wilkes Booth. We wrote a one-man show version, basically, for him, a performance piece, which he knocks out of the park.
And he does it. He had very little rehearsal time, and he's so good.
He's so good in it, and he sings and he dances all around you, and you play it really funny. So you had the added dimension of playing Abe Lincoln in front of John Wilkes Booth, and then also the subtext of you and John and the Full House and your best friend sort of chemistry, which is playing. I remember when you first walk out as Abe Lincoln, the crowd's on their feet. There's Confederate soldiers, there's Union soldiers. I'm dressed like the Roastmaster General of the Union Army, and the first thing that John Wilkes Booth does is walk up to you and give you the finger.
That's the picture, too.
And then you basically stare him down, turn to me, walk to me, and hand me a bunch of Lincoln pennies. I don't want to give too much away because I want people to watch the show.
I think that's the whole thing.
On Netflix, and you're Abe Lincoln, man. It's fucking amazing. It's
Well, you had also amazing makeup people. I mean, they made that beard look like
you looked really good.
it looked like a red box without the hair on it.
And the fun thing about
I mean,
doing,
the red box where my movie Benjamin's available. What? Hello?
Yeah.
Is this
At a
on?
Carl's Jr. near you.
I don't want to offend anybody. I can't help it anymore. I don't know what to do. I mean, I had a guy, I was performing stand-up like recently, and some guy yelled out, "The South will rise again." And have you had that happen?
No.
Guy yelled that out, and I actually, it's the truth. I said, "Sir, we're in Boston." And we were. And it's like, he came all the way up there to tell me that the
meant-
Mason-Dixon line's going to move.
he meant South Boston.
Oh, that's what it is. That's a nice place. I performed there, South Boston.
I looked at these tour dates, Bob.
Yeah, I'm tired, but
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
keep going. I'm gonna keep going and doing it because I got it.
You got to be doing 150 dates a year.
Well, I haven't ever done it. I never did it, and so I went and did, and then I found out 10 days in a row is not something that's good for the system. But I planned it so that it would be like a 3-hour drive, and then I stay at Four Seasons. You know,
But you have this beautiful
I'm a
house, a
bitch.
beautiful wife.
Yeah, but
You
I'm in
can kick
I'm in
back.
nice hotels, and
I
she
find
came with
it-
me for some of it.
I find it very respectable and even inspiring that you, even when you don't have to, you love the audience. You love getting laughs.
There's nothing like it.
You know,
I've been doing 90 minutes out there.
you said you did
Of
90
your-
minutes the other day. I don't think I've ever done 90 minutes.
Well, you have when you did some of my stuff. I saw. No, actually, I did. I was booked in a couple of places, and I just said, let's not have an opener. I'll just go do it.
Right.
And I just walked out and I did it, and then I get to talk. I do like an hour of stand up, and then I do like a half hour of music, or I split them in half. I've been writing more comedy songs.
you bring your guitar.
But they always have one for me. You know, I'm in show business, so it's in the rider.
Sure.
I don't have to carry it on the plane.
Right.
You know, I keep
So
it.
you bring a guitar, and I have to bring David Tell.
Yeah, but David Tell can fit in the overhead.
Yeah, but he's very tough to tune.
David Tell's so funny.
He's very tough to tune after.
I love
a
the
long
two of
trip.
you together. I love it.
Thank
It's
you.
just friendship, and it's also guaranteed funny. There's no way it won't be funny.
It's the most fun, and you were a big part of that too. And the fact that you jump into my projects, do all these stand-up shows, do all the things you're doing, and yet somehow find time to not. Here's the thing about Bob. He's a solid guy. He's a family man. He has a bunch of daughters. He has a big family. Everybody loves him. He does all this
80
stuff.
daughters.
He does all this stuff for Scleroderma Research
Foundation.
and we're gonna.
And I have a big ass-eating campaign coming up.
And he has
all my money's
and the
going
I Eat
into
Ass
that.
bumper stickers that he sells at his shows.
That's going to cure it.
and he does Broadway shows, and he just directed and starred in a fucking feature film.
No, it's a low-budget movie that was video on
Low
demand.
budget's even harder.
It is. It is. And we got very lucky that we found a company that found us that wanted to be the first original. It wouldn't have happened if we weren't.
Tell us about the
original.
movie. I've been watching it. It's I'm about halfway through. It's my first sort of red box film, but
Their films are usually just every film you could watch on iTunes. You know, they get, and they have the 41,000 kiosks, which are a good place to sit inside.
people will be able to
I'm
find
just trying
it
to
if
tell
they
people
wanna-
not to urinate in those
if
things.
they want to find it, they'll be able to find it.
Yeah, 'cause it's-
but what's fun about it is not only that you're the star of it and you directed it. You're a great director. Bob directed Dirty Work. Bob directed Farce of the Penguins. Bob directed a movie about his sister having scleroderma on Lifetime that Dana Delaney
It
starred
was
in
actually on ABC at first. They were really nice to me.
on ABC.
Called
What was that
For-
movie called?
For Hope.
For Hope.
And it was based on my sister Gate's death to scleroderma. So
It's a very, very moving issue for you. I know we do these scleroderma benefits.
you just showed up just now and played around just as a guest, and you grabbed the mic, and Norman Lear stood up and said, "Hey, fuck you."
Yeah, it was
And that's
great.
how the geniuses win.
I get to meet a lot of cool people around Bob, and
We have good friends.
I was up late night watching Benjamin, which just came out, and Kevin Pollak, Dave Foley, Sherry O'Terry, Mary Lynn Rice Cup.
Rob Corddry.
Rob Corddry is wearing like lipstick, and there's like these insane, crazy.
It's
and
a serious movie. I mean, it's about something
It's a
serious.
dark comedy.
People don't know what dark comedies are anymore.
Well, it's not a slapstick comedy. It's an emotional comedy about a guy, in my opinion, who's like on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He's surrounded by his friends and family. He thinks his son is doing drugs.
And Mary Lynn Rice Cup, just to make it easier for
Who I
you,
adore.
She's so good. She calls in intervention on Facebook, which is not smart.
Right.
These are not smart people.
Right.
They're relatively smart. Rob Corddry's character is kind of smart.
Right.
And my daughter, Clara Mamet, is smart, played
Right.
by Clara Mamet. And Max Burkholder is Benjamin, and he was on Parenthood. He's really talented.
Really good.
But Rob Corddry leads the intervention, and he's the family gynecologist. And so the first thing, why would there be a family? It was written by Joshua Turk. I'm like, why is there a family? What family has it? All of us get fingered by the same guy? I mean, and he said, I'm not equipped to do this, but he does. And the byline for the whole movie is, I always forget it, which is a really good salesman. Admitting, the first step is admitting everyone else has a problem. Which is true, which is why people come out of, why are kids addicted to drugs? Why are adults addicted to drugs? It comes out with the upbringing and what you need that you're not getting and how much you want to escape. So that's, and I've had a lot in my family. I've lost 2 sisters and a lot of difficult stuff happen. And Jeff, you've had a lot of difficult stuff happen in your life. I don't know about you guys, but I know you had a big ass eating problem. But you, you go through this hard stuff, and you either come out mentally stable, or you become a comedian, or you go off the deep end. And
Have you ever gone off the deep end?
when I work really, really hard, I read something really interesting. Somebody that says to you, "You don't understand. I've been working so hard." That's like condescending to them.
Right.
That's like saying you couldn't possibly understand because you don't work as hard as me.
Yeah.
So that's like bullshit.
Right.
To do what I do. So basically, this is how it becomes therapy here in this bunker that we're in. It's a bunker, right?
It is.
All right. But I find when I'm starting to fall apart, I need to get off the grid. So like right now, I'm gone. I'll be gone for 7 days, and if I tweet, it'll just be something like butterfly. It'll just be, it'll be nothing.
It'll be a pretty picture of a sunset.
Or
I know your Instagram.
I might shoot something about
Bob's go-to Instagram is a really pretty picture with a really inappropriate caption.
Yeah, that's true. I might, in the moonlight, paint my balls phosphorescent and just show them reflecting with the moon.
Do you think social media helps bring us out of slumps and sadness, or do you think it causes it?
Both, because there are people that are competitive in social media, and that's disgusting. And then, of course, there's people that try to get us angry or hurt us or tell us I hated your thing or I hated this thing you did, and it's like I just block them. I don't care anymore. They're wrong. They're wrong. I like myself. I would marry myself with 4 witnesses. Wait a minute. We can do this.
Bob and I debate this occasionally. Like if I get a hateful or tweet or Instagram message, I ignore it. Bob blocks people proudly.
Or I talk to them.
Or he talks to them.
Well, you know what Whitney Cummings did the other day, which was really fun, and I find her to be very much a soldier in the way she approaches it.
Mm-hmm.
We did this Kaboo Festival last Sunday in Dallas.
It's fun.
And it's really fun. And some guy, there was a picture of me and her and Fortune.
Beamster.
Oh, she's so funny.
Mm-hmm. She plays Princess Diana.
Oh, she's so
on the,
wonderful. I just
roast.
I just want to hug her. I just hug her
Funny
really
lady.
hard.
Funny.
And then she calls the police. But 3 of us took a picture together, and people write. Some guy writes to Whitney something terrible about and Whitney crushed. Whitney's set was sold out, and it was just it's in a comedy tent. It's they get in from the air conditioning of going to go see Sting that night. And she just did great. And some guy just told her how bad she was. She goes, "Thank you so much. Would love to meet you." and I just went, "Yes, let's get together with him." And they never interact like that. And I didn't block the guy. And he's evil. People are they're all
kill him with kindness.
They're all catfishing you. But you kill them with kindness. But I don't want them following me. I don't want them to see.
But isn't it better?
But I don't want them to see where I'm going. I don't want them to know about my life. They don't deserve. What the hell's going on here?
Bubbles.
You have a waterproof tablecloth.
It's pretty impressive.
Remind me
actually.
to fuck on this.
That's pretty great.
But you didn't know it was waterproof till today, did you?
No, it's good.
Yeah. You could use this as like an Ultraman costume. If you were a superhero,
You could eat ass on this thing.
Oh, you could.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this. Today's podcast is sponsored by ass.
Oh, by the way, you know how every day, remember how 4 years ago there wasn't a holiday every day?
Yeah.
Fountain pen day, secretary day, fountain pen, give it to the secretary, she's now your boss day. But ass eating day.
Oh,
I
like
think
it.
that we should have an ass eating day where that's all you do.
As long as it's not in summer.
Because of this.
Because of the heat. Yeah.
Some people like that. They want that funkadunk. They want to feel and smell something that goes back to prehistoric times. I mean, the people that are the characters in Game of Thrones, there ain't a lot of good smells out there. Forget all the dead people.
Every time there's a sex scene on Game of Thrones, all I think about is they must smell. They just walked 400 miles.
But not the actor and the actress. You're all into that because they washed because they're getting ready for their sex scene.
Do you think they eat ass in Game of Thrones?
I think they do, but that's off camera. You mean the actors or
No, the characters. The characters.
Oh, a wildling for sure. you know what? Nothing like an orange pube in your mouth. You pull your mouth out and it just looks like sagebrush.
Did you like directing the movie, Bob?
Yeah, I loved it. I just wish I'd had more time.
Why, now, let me ask you something. This is a real question, a showbiz question. You're starring in the movie. Are you directing it first, or are you starring in it first?
I'm directing it first, but then I'll end up with a lot of dialogue, which is unfortunate for the other actors because we have to do 11 pages sometimes in a day.
Sure.
And then I feel bad that I didn't. There are a couple times I'd like do-overs on what happens when you're directing and you're crashing and burning anyway sometimes, if you're in low-budget world especially. I've done better when I've directed things with a budget, with more time. But I wanted to make this movie, and I loved it. And the cast was so wonderful.
It looks great.
And I love the script. And people are, there's some people that say mean stuff, and then I
Yeah.
go, wait a minute, you're wrong. So I get rid of them from my life. And then
What do you mean? That you get
viral
mean
world,
reviews or mean
yeah,
Twitter
they
people?
just say evil things. And then
I read good stuff.
well, that's what's interesting. People are actually but what means more to me is that you like it, and what means more to me is that a few people lately have been coming up to me and go, in fact, I have a text to return to somebody, a friend of mine, and you know them through somebody, and that's vague, but she just said how much she loved it, and because it speaks to you if you've got a kid that has this dilemma. It also speaks to you about yourself to check yourself a bit. And it's a comedy. I mean, but it's a weird comedy. It's not a joke comedy. It's a character comedy. So that's why I'm
It's
happy.
a little bit, the character's not like you, but in a way it is like you, because here's this like big family guy in the center of this like chaos. And the way you are on stage and off stage, you're really good at like, it's not an ADD thing. I don't mean it like that. It's more of, you're like rapid fire. The way you are with your jokes per minute and the way you change subjects quickly and easily on stage, these twists and turns, you do that in a dramatic way in the movie, because there's a dozen people in your house, and it's like a British farce almost. You're going from scene to scene, room to room. You're crying in one scene, you're laughing in the next scene, you're raging in the next scene, then you're just like eating a cookie in the next scene. It's like, it's really fun to watch. It never
Joshua
gets dull.
Turek wrote it that way. That's what drew me to it. It was like not no coward. It's not over the top.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of your millennials that listen to this know no coward.
Right.
He was a very scared writer.
Did they offer you to direct first or to star first?
To direct first, and then we went after a lot of actors, and then it was all contingent upon this business. Do you have the actor attached? Who are you friends with? Who can you get it to? And I got it to a couple people, and a couple people wanted to play it, and then they got big movies, so that was Goodbye Bob. And then
Where was I on the list? I never got a call.
no, I wanted you on the list too, and I talked
I
about
could
it.
have played that Mary Lynn Rice Cup part.
Yeah, there weren't. I
could
did
have
tell.
played-
I told your manager Amy there really isn't a part, and there really was.
The first thing when I saw the kid playing your son, I was like, I could have fucking played.
You could have been my son. You
What
could
is he,
have
16? That kid.
15 in the movie.
I could have wigged it up.
You
and
so
younged
could have
it
been that
down.
kid. Just sit there. Everybody would have thought I was like raising Lenny from Mice and Men.
This
I got
podcast is about getting through life. One thing I wanted to ask you about was, when I'm feeling sad and down, I just go to YouTube and I type in 2 words. I type in Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
And I just listen to his voice. I don't even have to hear the jokes anymore. I just hear his voice, his cadence. Hey, kid. And I start to feel better.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is like going deep into your past and stuff, but I knew you had a relationship with Rodney, and it's not something I've really gotten to talk to you too many times about.
No, we haven't actually.
And how well did you know Rodney, and what was he like? And
It was, I met him when I was, and I talk about this in my stand-up sometimes. I met him when I was 24 at the La Jolla Comedy Store. You just did that, right?
yeah, I was there last
Did you like
weekend.
it?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's kind of the old, I was there a weekend.
I was mad I didn't know about it years ago, right on the beach there.
Well, when you stay right on the beach, then there's got fleas from Letterman's dogs that are still there. That's how old it goes back.
Comedy
Everything about the
Store
Comedy
condo.
Store is ancient.
Yeah.
But the weekend I was there, when I first started, I was 24, and it was Rodney and Robin was there the whole weekend.
That little 200-seat room down in La
Yeah,
Jolla.
they would come in just because there's a place to work out, get away, go to La Jolla, be crazy.
Wow.
And Bruce Baum, Baby Man Baum,
Uh-huh.
and me. And so it was the 4 of us all weekend. I think it was 3 nights I did. I'm not sure. But Rodney came in, and he had never seen me in person, but he saw me on the Merv Griffin show.
Hey kid, I saw you on Merv Griffin.
Hey man, you're a Jew. Your brain never stops. You're never gonna have any friends. You can't sleep.
Hey.
And I'm like,
You were good.
I got a new friend,
Hey.
and we stayed friends for 30 years. So I told the story.
Was he wearing bathrobes then?
Oh,
by
his
then?
balls are hanging out, and just and so he's smoking dope. His balls are hanging out. I say that he looked like a grandfather clock that was just swinging, and smoke's coming out of it. And
I
he
shook his hand once. I wish I really got to know that
Well,
guy.
you want to know where that hand was before, but
It was in Sam Kinison.
he was such. I introduced him to Sam. I got
Really?
Sam his first spot at the Comedy Store.
Really?
Yeah, I met him in Houston, and he had been banned from a club there called the Comedy Workshop, Sam Kinison, and so to get back at them, he chained himself to a telephone pole in front of it, dressed as Jesus, and he had a crown of thorns on, and he had his eyes rolled back in his head, and said the Comedy Workshop treated him like they crucified Jesus, and it was on the front page of the entertainment section of the Houston Chronicle. And I said, I got to know this guy, and then I watched the stand up there and some other shit club that he was working in Houston, and I'll never forget it. We became friendly.
My first time seeing Sam Kinison, I was still in college, and he played at Rascals in West Orange, and my buddy and I saved up. We paid like $40 a seat in the 80s. And I didn't really know. I only heard about him and heard little bits and pieces of him. And holy moly, I was like,
He exploded the walls off.
I was all in.
And he said stuff you can't say today. There'd be a lot of problems with it.
What about Rodney? Was Rodney?
So Rodney, I'll tell you a couple stories. Like I was doing the video show in Full House. They were both in the top 10.
Hey, America's Funniest Home Videos. I like your work, Bob.
No, he didn't quite say it like that.
Hey.
But I went up to see him. He lived at the Hilton, and so he would walk across the street in his safari pants.
Come on by.
Yeah, right. Well, I would go by a lot, and
What do you mean safari pants?
They look like
I'm going to ask a lot of questions
long
because I'm
shorts,
obsessed with Rodney.
over the knees shorts that were kind of like Jack Hanna wears on
Right,
the Tonight
right,
Show, no matter who's hosting. And so I go to see him, and I told the story on Stern once. I said, Rodney, I don't know. I got that show's number 1 and this show's number 7, and I'm not funny on them. I don't think I'm funny. I'm just playing a goofball, and I'm just trying to feed the beast and make everybody laugh. But it's not me. That's not what I find funny. I don't laugh at anything I'm doing. And he looked at me and he said, "You don't know cock." and I'd never heard cock used. It wasn't a noun, It's an adverb, I think. I mean, what's the word anything? Is that an adverb or a pronoun? I don't know. Well, but that's it. You don't know cock, man. Let me tell you how it is. And then he would just explain that, he really never explained it. He just got high. But it was kind of, I think the insinuation was, if you have success at doing this, because it took him till 58 till he was in Caddyshack. He was 58 when he finally got a movie.
It's crazy.
And then by the time he was 60, 61, then things happened, and he got, Back to School, which was insane, and Easy Money, really good comedies.
Yeah.
But he was the best story I have about him, which is true, 100% true, is he had surgery because his guts were fucked up. So he said, they took them all out, man. They laid him next to me, all my guts. They fixed everything, they put them back in, and then they cut, and he sewed me up.
Jeez.
And then he shows it because he's
Heart surgery.
half naked anyway. No, it was
Contestants.
it was all your guts. It
Oof.
wasn't the way he told it. It was everything. It's all fucked up,
Oof.
man. Everything's fucked up, man. All right, how you doing, kid? And so they put it all back. They sewed it, so he's got a stitch from below his belly button all the way up, and it goes across, and it's like they just opened him up. And he's standing there, and we're supposed to go to dinner at the Palm.
Right.
And there's a part B to this too. You might enjoy it. But so I go there at 7:00, and he goes, "Bob, what are you doing here?" And I go, "We have dinner scheduled at 7:00." He said, "You didn't call to confirm." I said, "Well, Rodney, no, but I got the Palm reservation." "Sorry, man, I got Ron Jeremy coming up with 2 hookers. I mean, we're just gonna hang out and smoke pot if you want to." I said, "No, that's okay." And he had a a piece of paper on the desk that said, "I, Ron Jeremy, let Rodney use me in his book," and then Ron was supposed to sign that. That's the contract.
Right.
So he walks me over to the elevator, and Ron Jeremy, he's a guy that loved comedy. He's always around comedy, and so
I saw him the other night at my comedy
people
show.
that don't know, he's been a famous porn person that can go down on himself for many years.
His dick is so big he can blow himself.
Yeah, and he put on weight, and so he can still do it, which means it grew. So it's kind of like he's kind of like a pollywog or potato bug or whatever, but because he's a little thing too, it's like a hedgehog. But
that was his nickname.
yeah, that's right, that's right. So this is the truth. He walks me to the elevator. The elevator just goes to his unit, no other unit.
Right.
He's standing there, his robe's open to his gut, just his scars hanging out. I go, Rodney, how are you doing? Because it was like, I'm leaving, and he just seemed out of it a little bit. He was always depressed. 75 Austrians, none of them could fix me, man. They all fucking suck. Nobody knows anything, Austrians. He calls psychiatrists Austrians. So he walks me to the elevator. I get in the elevator. And I go, how you doing? He goes, you want to know how I'm doing? I said, yeah. And he goes, you're leaving, and I'm waiting for a guy that can suck his own cock. That's how I'm doing. And as he says that, the doors close, and I hit the fucking wall. And he got so delighted that I laughed so hard. And then we all want the final punchline, for some reason. But you can't outdo this punchline. So here's a B story to that. Do I have time?
Poor.
Okay, so what happened was
We're eating it up.
Good. So what happened was this. Like ass? Okay, so what happened? We're eating it like ass. Well, that ass is jumping off the shelf.
Hey, I'll tell you how.
You should see the ass selection they have here at the seafood department.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, man. So how you doing? You all right?
How am I doing?
How am I doing?
You're leaving, and I'm waiting for a guy
that can suck his own cock. You should have seen me last week.
Hey, my doctor.
He wouldn't go to the Palm.
Right.
Now, the Palm used to be on Santa Monica Boulevard,
right
next to Dan Tana's,
right
down the street,
right.
And they take the lobster claw and they break it on the counter there,
right.
And it still exists. It's more lovely in Beverly Hills,
right.
But it doesn't have the sawdust and the butcher block shit that we all would go to.
Right. An old-fashioned steakhouse.
That's what it was, and in the old school way. So sawdust on the ground or just pieces of people's bodies that didn't make it, and
the old waiters.
Survivors, old waiters, old
right.
dying waiters.
Right.
Johnny, who lived in Italy, and I remember when he left, I felt bad for him. Gigi, who passed away, who used to be the manager, and he whispered in my ear once, if anybody ever hurts your daughters, you come to me. And I go, I just want to have dinner. I don't want you to kill people.
Wow. The Gigi salad, that's still on the menu.
That's him, man. He was the best.
Wow.
So
did you ever get your picture up
I
at
had
the
a
Palm?
good relationship.
Did you have your picture up at the Palm?
Yeah, yes. Yes. They put it around the other side at the bar, level with someone's balls. Stamos' picture is still up because I think they like to masturbate during the day. But what happened was this. He wouldn't go. And I said to him and his wife, Joan, I want to take you guys to the Palm. I haven't gone for 10 years. I'm not going back. Why? They gave me a lobster. One big claw, one little claw. I went, this is bullshit. They're fucking me. I went, no, Rodney. It's a lobster. I mean, sometimes they have a big claw and a little claw. Let me take you. You're going to have the best time you ever had. So this is... So but it's him because that's who he is, that guy.
Well, we all comics have our
But
weird.
he's neurotic and he's stoned every day.
He didn't like that he got no respect from the.
That is completely the truth, and that came out of reality.
Right.
Complete reality.
No respect.
And it stayed with him to the day he passed.
Right.
And I was with him the night before he went into that horrible coma. I was at UCLA, so as opposed to a great coma. So that great coma I had.
You put Rodney in a coma?
Possibly. John Lovitz thinks I killed him because, never mind. Let's move on to this story. So I take him to the Palm, him and Joan, his wife, and we're eating. And I go in, I say, look, guys, there's a guy named Joe there. I said, we got a problem. Rodney, it's so good to see you. It's been forever. He goes,
Hey, good to see everybody.
no, he wasn't happy yet.
Hey, I'm not happy yet.
Exactly. There you go. And he goes, he was here 10 years ago, and he got one big claw and one little claw. and it really upset him. And so, and they went, Rodney, that was just somebody fucked up. Rodney, we're sorry. Wait till you see what we do for you tonight. You hate to say cut to because it's annoying, but next thing you know, he's got a bib on, the lobster bib. They bring him a 10-pound lobster. The claws are 5 pounds apiece. They're equal size, and I made sure, I said, don't break a giant one off of another one and add it to this short-handed one. These mitts got to be the same. And they bring him this giant lobster. Next thing you know, he's literally, you know how we are when we eat?
Yeah.
Sometimes if you give me a plate of ribs or something,
yeah.
and give you a lobster, a plate of ribs.
Sometimes Bob and I go out for beef ribs.
It's not pretty.
No.
It's not pretty. It's not something
we eat
you want
dark.
to see.
We eat in the dark.
It's wildling food. We eat like wildlings.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know meatloaf was supposed to glow in the dark. So go ahead. So what happens? Is he happy? Is he happy?
He's eating. Literally picked up the whole body of the lobster. He's eating it out. I mean, he's eating everything. There's nothing he's not eating. You can't look at him. His face is covered. It's a monster. He looks like a Viking. It's a Viking eating. It's
You made him happy. You made him happy.
They went every week until he went in for the procedure.
Wow.
He went. It was another 2 years, and he went every single week to the Palm and give me that lobster with the big claws, right, baby? And, all right, and then he would always go, all right, baby, you doing good, baby? And then he'd always say, it is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And then he also said, the advice people say, hey, what's the advice you'd give me? And I give 2 things for people that want to do this or anything. Don't do it to be famous. If you do it to be famous, you're a fucking idiot. If you do it to be famous so that you can get stuff done that means something to you, that entertains people, that provides for your family, that takes care of your life, but if you do it on ego only, if you do it so you can walk around like you're a hot shot in some restaurant somewhere, you're worthless.
Right.
You do it, you don't do it because you want to be whatever, the best musician, the best basketball player, the best, be the best you can, all that shit that sounds like cliches. So, and that's how Rodney kind of looked at it, because it's not, fame, look at this guy. He thinks he's great. Do you laugh at him? No. Riggles used to ask me that too. Do you think this guy's funny? And I'd go, he's good. And he'd go, do you think he's funny?
Right.
And I'd go, no, he's not funny.
Really?
That's how they both talk to me like that. Because what bottom line is, what's funny? I talked about it with Pryor too, because we were talking about when are you funny? When did you know you were funny?
You knew Pryor?
Yeah, I knew him very well. I hosted the Comedy Store for 10 years in the original.
Wow.
Or 8 years. I don't know.
So you'd
anymore.
introduce him?
I also was in Critical Condition. I co-starred in a movie.
Right.
So I was with him for 3 weeks in High Point, North Carolina, with Joe Mantegna and Rachel Tickerton and Ruben Blades, who's beautiful, a bunch of people. But I got kind of close with Richard during that time, and it was like, who's funny? If someone's funny, it's just real. There is no talk about it. It's not who's popular, who's hip, who's popular at the moment. It is to people.
You think we forgive too much bad behavior because people are funny? Like,
yes, But Michael Jackson's been forgiven.
Like Dave should nothing extreme like that. But I mean, like, comics, like, we can be louder, we can play our own music. Dave Chappelle smokes on stage, nobody stops him. It's because
he's not hurting anybody.
We cut through with the funny, and people kind of let other stuff slide.
Well, we're not hurting anybody.
We're helping.
If anything, we're hurting ourselves if we're doing too much of something. Too much eating, smoking, drinking, whatever. Because we're habitual people.
I remember how hard you took it when Robin Williams passed away.
Yeah, I took that really hard.
Because he sort of was in your generation.
Well, I looked at how do you not look up to him,
Right.
And also I got kind of close to him because I did that my scleroderma benefit.
And he would show up.
He did it 7 times. Hey, what do you need, Chief? And you can't be on stage with him. I figured out, and anybody will tell you that. You ask Billy Crystal, how do you work with Robin Williams on stage, and nobody was closer than Billy and Bob Goldthwait and Rick Overton, a couple people.
Robin brought me up once to do improv with him and a few other people, and I've never been more just...
Oh, there's nothing to do.
I couldn't do anything.
No, he's a magic...
No, I didn't even get it.
No, he's a laser centaur. He moves a foot ahead of you. When I talk about him, though, it's weird. I talk about him like he's right here, like he's not gone. He shouldn't be gone. He just shouldn't be gone. So he would move a foot ahead of you. If you'd upstage, he'd be behind you, whatever. But what I would do would be I would just start dry humping him, which is nobody would do that. I would just start literally just grinding my dick on his body hair because he was a very hairy man. He said, "You've got to stop. I'm too hairy. We'll start a fire." You know, and thank you, Chief. Thank you. Bob Saget, ladies and gentlemen. And so just to get rid of me because there's no way to win. And it's not winning. It's can you play at that speed? Can you play that fast? And
it's like racing Richard Petty.
He was exactly, and he was beautiful. If he'd never done any stand-up, if all he'd done is Dead Poets, Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Morning Vietnam, Moscow on the Hudson, if he'd only done those movies, you'd go, oh my God, we lost this brilliant comedic, dramatic actor.
Right.
That's how fucking brilliant. That's how talented and special from another place.
I remember picking him up once. Buddy Hackett and I were running around town, and Robin wanted Buddy to come with him somewhere, and getting to be in the car for an hour or two with Robin Williams. And sometimes Robin would stop by the Comedy Cellar in New York and just sit and generously give advice and talk to the younger comics. And
did he give him money?
He didn't give him money, but that's a real legacy right there, man. You've really worked with them all, Bob. You've really worked with them all.
Well, you remember when you die soon.
Remember when you and I first started running around? We were trying to. Remember that time we were going to that club in New York, some trendy club. It was like
we were always at a trendy club. I was single.
It was late at night. We were blowing into some club in New York.
Probably Bungalow 8.
It might have been it. Yeah,
Bungalow 8. Yeah, it's where you go in and you see Nicole Kidman and Naomi Watts, and I'm single and I'm hoping they'll talk to me. And then they start talking to me, and then I go to turn around to say something else, and they're gone, and they're married to the next guy they sit with.
Remember the guy at the front door?
Well, you talk about Marquee.
I was at a Marquee.
Was.
Oh, yeah.
Was still there?
No, someone asked if we were on the list.
An actor. Oh, that was that? No, that was somewhere else.
No, they didn't know us. We went to a club. They didn't know us.
No,
but it was crazy that they didn't know you. I mean, it was like the guy must have been blind.
Someone straightened him out, and we got taken in right away.
And they said, "Are you on?" They said, "Are you on the list?" To Bob Saget.
Said,
"Yeah, we're on Schindler's List."
That's what he said. And I hit the cement. And we went into the club, and we didn't have that good a time. And then we went out, and you were wanting to eat from one of the street trucks, from one of the street. Whatever you call those things. What do you call those things?
The vendors. Street meat. I
can't eat
street
that
meat.
Stuff. That's like goat and people and stuff.
I love going out to eat with you, Bob, because you love the finer things in life. You get me to try things I normally wouldn't try. And because Bob is so made, I always try to, not always, but often, I want to be the one guy in your life who's like, let me get dinner this time.
Oh, you did that the other night.
Because it's almost on principle.
What was that for? Well, you took me out. It was something really
we've gone out for your birthdays and my birthdays. And
was that a year ago?
Oh, I don't even know.
No, the Tower Bar with Stamos.
Oh, we went out for your bachelor party dinner.
Oh, that was my bachelor party. That was 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, John and I organized a little bachelor party dinner.
That was a fun wedding, man.
It was a great, great wedding.
Thank you for that.
What a fun wedding.
Well, I got a great gal, too. That's the other thing.
She's cool.
She's so cool. She's smarter than me in so many ways. And then once in a while, I'll have an all-net moment.
You ever think you were going to get married again?
No. I thought I was completely done.
Is it good for your career to be married? Is it good for your career to be married?
I don't think that way, but... Are you saying to me, are you basically questioning me, should I get married, Bob? Will it help my career?
No, I'm saying, anyway,
Bob,
what's next then?
Bob, will my career do really good if I propose?
I just feel like you're grounded. You're not out partying with me. You're home. You're like taking care of business.
Party like I did. And I was a bit of a mess. I mean, in that book I wrote, Dirty Daddy, there's a whole chapter on, driving drunk and stuff. Things. I was crazy. I was living in Malibu when I got divorced 24 years ago, and I would drive from Malibu to the clubs at Hollywood and Vine. I shouldn't be on the road.
I know.
They didn't have Uber then,
I never
though,
say
so
this.
it's not my fault.
I never
Like
say
I couldn't
this.
afford a car.
I never say this, but you are a very good drunk driver.
I actually used to pride myself on being.
I'd be like, Bob,
He
you
just
want to?
said that because he knew I'd start bragging. When I was
It's
making
like David Tell's joke. He's like, you always hear about the drunk drivers who get killed, but you never hear about the millions and millions of drunk drivers who make it home safely.
who save other people's lives by not swerving into them.
By not swerving into them.
Yeah, I was doing stupid shit, and a friend of mine actually quit drinking that night because we almost died. I went up on the curb, and the car was off of two wheels, and then it came down hard, and it woke us both up. That's called near death. So you change a lot. But I'm going away with my wife to Mexico. We're actually staying on the wall. We got it's this full treatment where it's on the wall, and they set it up like they got a little backdrop, and you got a little kiddie pool.
That's great.
Yeah, and I'm going to take pictures of you. Here I am in Mexico.
Who would have thought that Trump would turn the wall into a hotel?
It's not a hotel. It's just a little backdrop. It's not dumb. It's not run by Trump. It's just actually because he's the president. He's not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So it's run by some guy here that sets it up. I think Felipe is his name. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited.
You should run for office. I could see people rallying behind you.
I should run from an office. No, I think people would. The fact that we're at the place where people are voting for a celebrity. A businessman is kind of okay, but we never wanted a businessman. But we've been disappointed by so many politicians. That's how all this has happened. So it's all understandable. But I can't run for office. I don't know what anything means. I just know what right and wrong are, which maybe makes a good leader.
I think comedians are really good at sifting through that bullshit.
I really look up to comedians a lot. Like I was in New York doing this tour, and doing a lot of publicity for Benjamin and for the Video After Dark thing, which will be coming back when they give its time spot on the ABC at 10 o'clock at night because it's dirty. And,
I love that show.
Thanks.
Videos After Dark. It's a reworking of America's Funniest Home
But
Videos.
it's dirty.
It's the
It's
same
not that
people.
dirty. It's not that.
It's an adult version of your old show.
It's like PG or something.
Basically it's the real Bob Saget doing the old show. But
the videos are definitely not. I mean, you didn't take stun guns and guys with no shirts from Russia try to kill each other.
I mean, everyone started ripping off America's Funniest Home Videos for decades anyway, so it makes sense that you would take ownership of it back. You kind of created that genre,
Right.
And now the fact that ABC's bringing it back with an adult themed, it's a really fun show. I hope it comes back soon. Full House, I want to mention quickly.
Fuller House.
Fuller House is back on. Many
It's going to be on.
many people love it.
They're splitting it in two pieces. They got the front nine and the back nine. You know how much I like the back nine.
Yeah, of course. You're doing a Martin Mull documentary. You're so busy, Bob. Dirty Work.
Away.
Dirty Work. Do you think we'll ever see a sequel?
Well,
I love that movie
it's funny
so much.
because one of the things I was going to do before this podcast started was to text Norm, and we've been talking, and we talked with MGM, who own the rights, and David Permit is my producer friend who did Farce of the Penguins.
I know David well.
He also did Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, he makes a movie after movie. He also filmed Rodney for 10 years.
He told me about that.
Hey, you all right, man? He just...
This guy's got 300 hours of video footage.
I can't use any of it, God. But he's a very special friend and loves comedy. David Permit actually produced Richard Pryor's 3 concert movies.
Right.
He produced the first Richard Pryor live in concert in Long Beach.
Right.
The one where all the people are running to their seats and he's
Right.
making fun of all the white guys
Right.
not being able to go, oh, I'm going to miss the show.
Right.
And then that's my Swedish Richard Pryor voice. And then Live on the Sunset and the other one, I can't remember. Live in concert, I can't remember. But David, we're talking about it. And Norm, but the key is a writer that understands the old one, but make it present.
Right.
Norm originally said, let's call the movie Dirty Work 2, Keep Artie Alive.
Love that combo. Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, which brings us to one last thing I wanted to mention before our roast in peace.
Oh, we didn't do our... Oh, okay.
I want to mention how much people still talk to me about your Comedy Central roast. And John Stamos was the roast master that night. He was the only non-stand-up comic. I love when roasts... I wish more roasts got back to that vibe of comics roasting other comics. It was like me, Norm Macdonald, and a bunch of us.
But it was all my friends. That's the difference.
Right.
That's the difference, but not to put down any of your other roasts, because they've all been successful, some more than others, some through the roof.
Right.
But I had all my friends, and I'd been, we had a real problem with Artie. We couldn't get Artie on a plane.
Right.
He OD'd the night before, and it was terrible. And I'm on with Joel Gallen, the producer, and we go, I'm on with you?
Yeah.
What do I do? This is the best. Oh, this is the best. This is about you. We're on the phone, and we're like, who are we
Artie
gonna get?
canceled the day of the show.
Well, he couldn't travel because he
understand.
had to go to the hospital, and
Right.
and he was okay. He was okay.
Right.
And he wanted to fly. Comedy Central was gonna fly him private. It was a time of a lot of money, and I know those things have changed for the most part. Well, whatever.
We still fly in the big shots for those roasts. Don't worry.
All right. So here's what happened. So we've got to do the show at 2 in the afternoons. We're rehearsing, and it's 10 in the morning, and Joe Gallen's on the phone with me and goes, we got to get somebody. I called Jeff. I go, Jeff goes, oh, my God, I've got 10 minutes of fat jokes. He didn't say to me, I said, Artie OD'd last night. He didn't go, Jeff, you didn't go. Is he okay? How's Artie? Is he going to be okay?
No.
Holy fuck, I got 10 minutes of fat jokes.
Yeah,
and I said, okay, so let's do it. Let's go through this. So
the roast must go on.
Yes, the roast must go on, but we talk about a friend's life.
Yeah, but we were roasting you, Bob.
Yeah, we had to go to work. So so Joe Gallen, we got it down to...
Joel's our producer-director.
We got it down to, at the time, Ralphie May, God bless him.
Right.
And who
So we had to
else?
find a replacement.
We talked about Steve Sharippa for a second.
Right.
We talked about Jeff Garland, who I don't think of as a heavy guy.
Right.
But so it didn't really fully work because
Right.
we ended up going with Jeff.
Well, Jeff was nice enough,
Well,
gracious
Jeff
enough to
and
jump
I
in.
have a connection.
Right.
We are friends.
Right.
And we weren't that close then, but after that, forget about it.
Right.
But he reminds me, a lot of people come up to me and they go, do you remember the first thing you ever said to me? And I go, no. And then I know it's going to be the worst possible thing you can say to any human being. Supposedly at the Improv 30 years ago, I walked up to Jeff Garland and I said, God, I hope I don't get it wrong. He'll be upset if I get it wrong. Is your grandmother's pussy very dry? I think that's what I said. And he said, I'm going to be friends with him the rest of my life.
I love that. A good impression.
Well, I love Jeff. And
You
you
and
and I.
Took him to Vegas for his 50th birthday.
And what did he want?
He wanted two things. He wanted crab claws.
He wanted to be with you and me, first of all.
He wanted crab claws, and he wanted to see Don Rickles.
So Joe's Stone Crab in Vegas and see Don Rickles. So we set the whole thing up, and it was the only thing about it was I was complaining. I was annoying as fuck, and that's what's gone from my life.
Right.
That's what changed 10 years ago with therapy. I didn't know it, though.
We were on the plane going to Vegas, and you know how they say, turn your phones off. It's not good for the communication of the plane. Well, Bob was in a furious, text battle or something with his
You should
jealous
do that,
rage.
text battle.
Text battle with his girlfriend at the time, and he didn't want to turn his phone off. He wanted to keep talking to her on text because whatever, the whole thing was toxic and awful. And I've been there, and you and I got in maybe our first and only fight was Bob. The flight attendants have told you 3 times to turn your phone off. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, and it's also, Bob, can you stop talking about it? Can we just enjoy our friendship?
Right.
And then Jeff did some. So at the end of it, so we had a great night. Rickles was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great
He
one.
was still marching around and doing his shit. He was so hilarious. And
I'm going to find a picture from that night and
there'll
post
never
it.
be another. Yeah, post it up
Yeah.
there.
There's a good one of
But
you, me,
at
and
the
Jeff
end of the
Garland.
trip, Jeff, are we allowed to talk about this?
Of course.
Okay.
Safe space.
So what happens? So we go through security in Vegas.
We're coming home.
And I'd never done an edible before in my life that I could remember. But you gave me some candy.
Right.
You gave chocolate candy. I like chocolate candy. So I had some chocolate candy. Then next thing I know, I don't remember anything except I'm in a slot machine for an hour and a half, smiling,
Missed our flight.
thinking we didn't miss it. But Jeff said, Bob, they're boarding. And I went, oh, they're boarding? And I was just, I was singing Rainbow Connection. And you finally got me on the plane, and I'd forgotten my troubles. But I didn't know what was going on in that relationship. But I could sense, you can sense stuff is going on. But it was bad stuff. It was like, but I was so neurotic. I feel bad I did that to you and to Jeff. I always feel bad about that. I've done a couple of other things like that. I feel bad about it. Because we all want to better ourselves. That we all do.
You and I have been through some stuff together, and we always wind up in a better place afterwards. I don't have no regrets about any aspect of our friendship.
No,
You're
I don't
a
either.
true hero in my life.
You're a great friend.
You've recommended your doctors to me. You've recommended all sorts of business advice to me, and you're a true hero to the comics.
I try to help you with the women.
You're a
but
true
I'm-
hero to
but I need
people
help.
who have scleroderma. You're great with relationship advice. You're a real pal. Your fans, Bob has. If we go out to dinner or go out somewhere in public, Bob loves to talk to everybody, but he has to hide in order to even eat a sandwich. He has to, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You know, Bob walks down the street. It's like, it's not even a politician, because politicians have, like, you know, enemies. Bob doesn't have anything like that. Every walk of life, from Fuller House fans that are 5 years old to 90-year-olds that still want to bang him because he was the young hot guy on a show. And
Are you saying the 5-year-olds don't?
And what's even more of an inspiration is that Bob is as funny as he's ever been, if not funnier. He's working more than he's ever been. His career is multifaceted. It's hotter. He's hotter than he's ever been. I want to go over all these crazy tour dates.
But I got great daughters.
Great daughters who are good friends of mine as well.
They love you. Your Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, they're really talented. They're really smart.
Stop touching them.
They get you.
Stop
I can't.
trying
I'm sorry.
to kiss
I can't.
them.
I can't. I can't.
One of them looks a lot like me. That scares me because I know that's the one you like. You basically want to kiss me.
If I did these jokes, he'd be so mad at me.
But
That's
you
the
want
irony, is
to
you could do these
you want to
jokes.
lick my DNA.
We always end our shows with a tribute to somebody that passed away.
Yeah.
And we lost a big one this week. So with no further ado, let's do Roast in Peace.
Today we're going to be talking about Tim Conway, co-star of the Carol Burnett Show, where he was known as an on-set prankster. He went on to have a very full career with appearances on SpongeBob SquarePants, McHale's Navy, and his own character, Dorf, the vertically challenged man who taught us how to do everything from golf to swimming to fishing to whatever it was he felt like doing that week. Nobody was a better supporting comedian to have around than Tim Conway.
Oh, I love Tim Conway. I
It's
truly love him.
unreal.
Tim was known for his pranks, so I'm waiting till he's in the ground to actually call him dead. Tim was called the best second banana in show business. Well, whoever said that obviously has never heard of a certain gentleman named Dave Coulier. Tim Conway's SpongeBob SquarePants character, Barnacle Boy, is actually named a venereal disease he got while working on McHale's Navy. We loved you in life as much as we'll love you in Dorf. Rest in peace, the great, late Tim Conway.
Now I have a Tim Conway story.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's a good one.
What happened?
I can't believe he did this for me because he knew you can tell when someone has a sick sense of humor,
Right.
and he knows I did. And a lot of these guys did and still do, the ones that are alive. Some of them, the respectful ones, don't because they're smart and they don't decide to just think that just pure filth for the sake of it is funny. I just laugh at things that are inappropriate. It's Groucho with an R rating is
Right.
kind of what I laugh at. So, or it's just one of the things. But here's what he did. It was Don Rickles' birthday. It was at the Tower Bar here in L.A. It's a very pretty place, nice ballroom, and I always like ballroom because my balls get very, very... Okay, so anyway, we're all in line. Like 5 of us are in line to wish Don congratulations, we love you. And he's sitting in a chair greeting people. In front of Tim Conway is a woman, a large woman, but she looked like she was from the 20s. She looked like Margaret Dumont. For those of you that don't know, she was like Groucho Marx's foil, who he would, well, I never. He's,
she'd
well, if you
faint.
never should, whatever the jokes. He tortured her, and she hated him. For those of you that don't know who Groucho Marx was, that is you got to Google that and watch some of that because it's funny today, and it's the basis for a lot of what we do comedically. So what happened was, the lady's about to go in line. She's talking to Don forever. Tim Conway's in front of me. Tim Conway, to make me laugh, just for me. There's people everywhere, but they're not looking at Tim. And just to make me laugh. And he sees this woman and looks at me like, gives me the, oh, God, this is never going to end. We're going to be here. I said to him, we're going to be here the rest of our lives. He gets on his knees like Dorf. And then he mimes like a silent film star opening up a telescope and puts it up to her asshole and looks through it like he's looking through it to see Don. And he says, I can see him. So he's miming a bit that he can see through her ass, out her front of her parts, and can see Don Rickles. So she's hollow, basically, is the premise. And then I'm just dying. And he is delighted that he's making me laugh.
Wow.
He is so, and I'm so honored that this guy that made me laugh for so many years is like, he's killing me. He doesn't stop. He just keeps doing it. He does what he did was when you watch the Carol Burnett show, but it's just what he was. It's very sad that he's gone. Just a sweet, everybody will say, sweetest man you could possibly.
That's nice to hear.
And if you have a doubt of who he was, and you just Google Carol Burnett show, Harvey Korman, and
Tim Conway.
Tim Conway, that's his name. Dentist sketch.
Okay.
So look up the dentist sketch.
Classic.
Because, a lot of times people don't like it when people on SNL crack up. But that show was during a time when you wanted to see people just lose it because they couldn't believe they were doing this on television. Yeah. And so that's where that came from. And I think it's still where it comes from when some people start cracking up on SNL because they're having so much fun, and people judge them. Comedy people tend to judge people who crack up on SNL and don't stay committed to the character, which is something you're supposed to do. That's the right way to do it. But if you're also having so much fun, what the fuck does any of it matter if you're having fun and if other people are enjoying it? Somebody's not going to like it, But he will be greatly missed, Tim Conway.
Yeah, I never got to meet him, but I did get to play poker with Harvey Korman a few times, and he was a lovely guy, always complimentary, always an easy laugh. And
and a very easy laugh. He wanted to laugh. He was delighted he was talking to you.
Yeah, I really love those old school guys.
You know what his last words were, right?
What? Bob will be in Vancouver May 31st. Winnipeg June 1st. San Diego.
Oh,
San Diego
God, why me?
June 8th.
Oh,
Irvine,
Dorf.
California, June 21st. And then July 20th, he'll be in Hinton, Oklahoma. Tickets are at bobsaget.com.
And I'm playing, enough of that. I'm doing Kaboo in San Diego, which
That's
will be
fun. I've done that.
I'm going to do that one.
That's fun.
And
So that's
I'm
June
doing,
8th.
and I'm doing House of Blues in San Diego coming up then, too.
Oh, cool.
Soon, like in a month or two.
Yeah, June 8th.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah.
I don't know my
I got them
dates.
all here.
And then that Irvine Improv is nice.
June
That's one of the
21st.
nicest
well,
ones.
It's a 600-seater.
It's
Not
a-
many people can fill that up but you.
It's a nice room.
Yeah.
And you get to work out new stuff. It's because it's intimate enough. So when you get a club like that where you can really work on your stuff.
Yeah.
If I got 10 minutes on killing a carp for Passover.
Really?
I'm not going to do it now, but who would come up with that? It happened out of life. It's just a true
You
story.
got to go see it live, folks.
Yeah, right. Especially if you're not Jewish, you're going to love it.
If you haven't seen Bob Saget live in
Passover
concert,
killing.
if you haven't seen Bob live in concert, I highly, highly recommend it. I actually highly recommend you go high, because that helps too.
I also highly recommend Jeff Ross. Jeff Ross solo. Jeff Ross with the great Dave Attell.
Thank you.
They are guaranteed great laughs and a great night out with someone that you want to bugger.
Well, you got some bumping mic shows coming up. Memorial Day weekend, you're going to be in Bethlehem and then Atlantic City. 2 shows in Atlantic City. Second show just added at the Borgata.
It's a big deal, bro.
That's really cool. Go to the 11 o'clock show. It's going to be dirtier somehow.
Well, Dave's always funnier in the late shows. I love him. And you have to come back and bump up with us again sometime soon.
Anytime you tell me.
That'll be fun. Memorial Day weekend in Atlantic City and Bethlehem. Then we're in Vegas.
Yeah, for 2 nights. June 7th and 8th, you're going to be at the Mirage.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
And then the 14th and 15th of June, you're going to be doing a little California tour in the Morongo Casino and then the Harrah's Resort SoCal in Funner, California.
That'll be fun. Bumping
Those
Mike
are nice
States.
places.
October 4th and 5th, you'll be in Huntington, New York at the Paramount Theater. And October 20th, you're going
That's
to
the
Winnipeg. So
you're Winnipeg.
Yeah, where you can see Bob in a couple weeks.
And the Huntington's the best. That's a great,
I've never been there.
Oh
but-
my God, you're gonna love it.
Well, that's where it tells from, so those tickets have been going.
It's a crazy place.
We added a second show right
I had
away
the best
there.
time ever.
Yeah.
I had the best time.
That's great.
I was with my buddy Mike Young. He often tours with me.
That's great. And when he's not touring, he's making movies. So go see Benjamin. Such a great cast. You, Rob Corddry, Mary Lynn, Sherry O'Terry's hilarious in this movie. Dave Foley, hilarious always. Kevin Pollak, who's having a big surge right now in his marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Somehow,
And Billions.
He had time to do Benjamin, which is fantastic.
He is, by the way, can I just say a quick Kevin Pollak?
Yeah.
I said, Kevin, we're going to come in for your coverage. He went, I've done 80 movies. I said, I know, Kevin, I know, but we're gonna film this. Bob, I've done 80 movies, which meant you don't have to tell me a thing. You don't have to say one word to me. Just go. We're on Kevin. You don't even have to tell me that. He said, I'll see the camera on me. And now I saw him at the Scleroderma benefit because he was kind enough to come, and I said, Kevin. I kept saying you've done 80 movies. He said, it's 85 now. I've done 85 movies. He's so funny.
He's so funny.
And
He's
such a good actor.
Oh, my God.
I mean, forget Usual Suspects. I mean, don't forget it. But Avalon is a movie that Barry Levinson
One of my
made.
favorites.
Barry Levinson, great filmmaker, one of the best writer filmmakers, made this movie that happened. It's an autobiographical piece. And Aidan Quinn and Kevin Pollak, and it's about their childhood and their sons. And there's some fatherhood stuff that takes place in it, which I'm consumed by. And that's why I made Benjamin. That's why I'm proud to be Danny Tanner. You know, there's positives to showing good father parenting. And there's something in it. I won't give it away, but if you can rent Avalon or find it on Netflix or wherever it is, iTunes, anywhere. But see this movie because Kevin is beautiful in it, but Aidan Quinn does something. There's something so beautiful about being a dad in this movie that you wish every father would just use it as a guidebook.
Wow. I haven't looked at that movie in a long, long time.
It really
I got to look
holds
at that
up.
again.
And Lou Jacoby,
Right.
who is a great comedic actor.
I used to see him around the Friars Club.
He was unbelievable.
I love your love for show business, Bob.
I just love things that make me laugh.
What do you tell young comedians, young actors when they stop you? Then they ask you for advice. What do you tell them?
I said, just cradle the balls, work the shaft.
Don't be afraid to go around back.
No, I'm winking and blinking. You know that bumper sticker.
All right.
Young comedians is just be funny and use an original voice. What I don't love personally is the smugness that's come out, which has always been the case. But, the things that I came up loving was silliness or incredible poignance. So I would love Pryor because it was so honest of what his life was. I would love Carlin because he would be prophetic in what he was saying. And we have that in Chappelle. He's about to get the Mark Twain Prize.
Incredible, huh?
It's deserved. And you get Chris and you got Bill Burr and people that I look up to that I love. But what I don't like is what I'm not attracted to is someone whose whole thing is based on that kind of dry, I'm too hip for school, I'm not going to laugh, I'm just going to say stuff. Stephen Wright did it, but Stephen Wright, that's who Stephen Wright is. But these are people that acquire a personality that is, I have my persona, it's kind of silly and stupid sometimes, but it's silly. And so when I would watch Steve Martin do stand-up, when he did it, when I would watch Steve Martin in the movies, it was silly.
Yeah, but he's doing a character silly. You're playing you real, starting place.
No, that's who I am.
Ground zero, and then you get silly.
Right.
You're just as silly at dinner or talking to your kids on the phone as you are on stage.
And
it's authentic.
That's what I guess maybe some of these dry comedians are being authentic, but when they're putting on a character and it's over the top of how smart they are, I just don't laugh at it because I know the words they're using. I know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing at it.
Right.
It's just something that became popular. It's like an Instagram person that became popular. It's not. I'm not laughing.
Hey, Bob, do you think this guy's funny?
He's not funny, right?
Hey,
Don Rickles went off on me and screamed at me to admit that a famous icon, who I will not mention, but he's in prison.
Gary Glitter.
Exactly. Thank you. Thanks for helping me. Don knew what funny was. That's all.
Will you just quickly? I know it's like I could talk to you all day, and if I don't eat something, it's been like 2 hours since I've eaten anything.
Yeah, how did you get by that? I saw
it's
you
really
eat that.
hard.
You were eating that chicken salad.
Normally we eat during the podcast, but I didn't want.
How do you eat during a podcast? You can't
somehow
do that.
I
Put
do
it in
it.
your mouth and wait for it to come out your ass.
I bet you say that to a lot of guys.
Let's
see what time? I gotta go. I leave the country.
What did
tomorrow.
Don say to you when he saw your stand-up special that time?
Oh well, Don. Oh my God, it's a Tim Conway tribute. No, I just checked the time.
No, you can't put it on the table. You can't put it on the table.
Oh
It
no,
interferes
it's
with
off.
the microphones.
Okay.
Oh,
I just
great.
looked at it for the time.
No, I understand.
See, phones you can turn off.
Oh, well, now you finally learned how to use airplane mode after I got mad at you on the plane that time.
That was a fucked up time in my life. So you're strong. Have you been lifting men? So let me tell this. This relates totally.
Yeah. So Bob had a big stand-up special, not the one that came out last year, but the one before that.
Well, two before it. It was That Ain't Right. It was on HBO, and it was dirtier. I said fuck a lot.
Yeah.
And I had a college audience. I did it at NYU. At Steinhardt.
It was coming off the Aristocrats, and that was kind of what you were doing.
It was all at the same time. It wasn't
Yeah.
even coming off of
Yeah.
it. It was like before it, but it was weird. Anyway, Don has Bob Newhart and Tim Conway. And that's who he's telling. Do you know what Saget does? And they go, no, what? And Newhart could be as dirty as anybody.
Right.
He just, why? Why is his point.
Right.
And Tim Conway just giggles kind of like Gilbert in a way. Kind of sits there and the shoulders shrug
Cool,
and he vibrates. So I'm talking like he's alive. So Don goes, do you know what Saget does? He goes, what? He goes, he comes out, a Jewish Clark Kent. He's got a guitar, and he starts singing. And the monkey fucked the dog, and the dog fucked the monkey. And and they say, he does that? And he said, yes, can you believe it? And I went, Don, I don't do that. He said, shut the hell up, you do. And I've never said those words together. I've talked about a monkey. And I've strummed a guitar, but I've never. It's interesting that Tim Conway's in that story. That'll be a great.
But he
great
came
loss.
up. I remember he came up to you and he said, "I love your special, Bob. But you left out 2 fucks."
Oh, that's true. Oh, I forgot that. That's where you're taking me. Oh.
Don Rickles, he is missed. He was beloved. He was one of the greats, the greatest, the GOAT. Thanks for coming, Bob.
Thanks for having me. I love you. I hope you can use this.
Any last things you want to mention, Ed? 'Cause
Historical Roast, Monday, Memorial Day, May 27th on Netflix. You got to check it out. You're Lincoln. This is the greatest. This is the role of a lifetime.
I'm Lincoln. I'm going to be dropping a log the day it's on. Are Lincoln logs still popular?
Yeah, they are.
Not if they're made out of shit, they're not.
Roast Battle's going to be a clusterfest on June 21st. And we love your feedback. You can rate and review us on iTunes. Check us out on Spotify. Subscribe and comment to our YouTube page. And if you want, so you can watch the podcast, hit up Jeff on Cameo. He'll make you a video. Get your thick skin t-shirts,
Really?
baby. Yeah, it's happening. You can go to the roastmastergeneral.com merch page and pick up your emotional support human t-shirt.
Woo!
That's right. Or jeffrossmerch.com. Go check it out. We got all kinds of fun stuff on there. Mugs, other shirts, books. Go get it. Email us at thickskinwithjeffross@gmail. Instagram, thickskinwithjeffross. Twitter, @thickskincast.
Are the urine specimens on there? Can they get your urine?
Why would they want that?
That's a good question. I'm just saying people would
It'd
buy
be good
anything.
to commit a crime. You could, sprinkle
I bet
some
they could,
Ross urine.
or they could spread your seed. That would be your semen.
Yeah.
Any way you
It's
want
more
to
expensive.
sell that. Jeff doesn't like this kind of joke. He never has. He just stares at me like, why would they want that? Why would you bring that up? Because it was going so good. It was ending so strong. So I had to throw a wrench in.
It's all fine, pal.
It's fine because you can cut it.
No, we're using every second of this.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy roast of, what's it called? Historical roast.
Historical roast.
This is
Good
gonna
name.
be huge,
Who picked the
man.
name?
It was just called that.
Eddie Firth,
Yeah.
Ryan Pig.
Yeah, the guys who did it first. But this was fun for me. I needed these laughs today. Bob, enjoy your
I did too. Thank you.
Enjoy your well-deserved break. Say hi to your nice wife, Kelly, and your beautiful daughters. And to all the people out there, ship to sea, sea to sea, all over this great land, thank you for listening. Thank you for being so supportive. And don't forget, life is hard, but you don't have to worry because we're getting through it together. Thanks, everybody.